Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is April, and for today's video I'm just going to show you guys all of the products that I use every single day, things that my go-tos. But before we jump into that, just make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell notifications because YouTube has a problem pushing my videos into people's subscription feeds. So make sure you go and do that because I put out new videos every single week. And yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you guys is my foundation. I've been using the L'Oreal Infallible Total Coverage in the color 302 Creamy Natural. I've been using this for months now. This is actually my favorite foundation ever, of any foundation I've ever tried. I'm actually trying a different foundation today, so that's not what's on my face, but that's because I'm just testing something else out. But as far as this goes, this is like my go-to. It doesn't crease, doesn't crack. It really does give me total coverage. It wears all day. It doesn't give me those weird, like, it doesn't like piece apart on my face. I don't know, a lot of foundations tend to do that. By the end of the day, it still looks fantastic. So I love this. This is like something I can always rely on if I just want something to be good and hold all day long. So I highly recommend this, and it's not even expensive. You can go get it at the drugstore, which is even better. Although I will say I haven't tried it for 24 hours. I would never try a foundation for 24 hours. Unless I was doing like a review or something like that, but it says it lasts 24 hours. I almost wouldn't doubt it, but I'm still not going to try it. This next thing is my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This is the best concealer I've ever used. This is another concealer that just does not break on my face. I tend to get those lines like right underneath my eyes. I think like a lot of us get them. And those lines just get so drawn out whenever I wear any sort of concealer. It just like amplifies them. So I really just don't like a lot of other concealers. I've always had a hard time finding a good one that I liked and one that's still full coverage, because I guess you guys can see here I have dark under eye circles. I don't know if it's genetic or if it's just because I literally just never ever catch up on sleep. So it could be a little bit of both, and it also could be stress. So this is something that covers it really well. I use the color Light Sand, in case you guys are wondering. I go pretty light on my under eyes because they are that dark. So yeah, but I recommend this. This is only sold over in Ulta, so it's the only place you can get this. By the way, guys, I don't actually use a primer anymore. I haven't found the need for a primer since I started using this foundation. And every time I was using a primer, I was having trouble with like mixing a primer and a foundation and getting them to work well together. It just would never work for me, so I skip out on the primer altogether. I just make sure that I have a moisturized face. I don't know what just happened with the background on my TV, but I'm sorry about that. And there goes Monkey. So yeah, so we skip out on that, but I do set my face most of the time with my Laura Mercier translucent powder. So this is just the loose setting powder that she has. This is just my go-to. It's something that, again, lasts all day. It almost like takes my pores away, and I find that a lot of powders that I use tend to make my face look very dry, and it matures my skin quite a bit. So, and given that I don't drink enough water, I tend to have skin that is on the drier side. So if I can use a powder that helps my makeup set and doesn't make me look like I'm 90 years old, then I'm all about it. So this is one that I highly recommend. It's expensive, but this lasts me forever because I barely use any powder on my face. I don't like go crazy with setting it. You don't need a lot, and a little goes a long way. My next thing is my Becca highlighter. I'll show you how much I use it. Like, I hit pan a long time ago. But I'm using the color Moonstone, I believe. Yeah, I'm using Moonstone. Champagne Pop is obviously is the most popular color by Jaclyn Hill, but I use Moonstone just because I'm a little bit more on the fair side, and I like the mixture of like a warm but yet a slightly icier tone with my highlights, because I like when it's a little bit more of like a headlight glow, which is like, I know it's a little bit intense for some people, but if you just use this with no liquid highlighter underneath, it still highlights your face without like overdoing it. So this one is my favorite. Obviously the color is going to depend on what your skin tone is and what your preference is, but the highlight lasts pretty much all day. I haven't had an issue with it. I will say though, if you do have larger pores, especially in this area, you can probably pass on this. This is probably not something you'd want to do. I'd probably recommend just a liquid highlighter and some sort of setting spray over your face, because if you use a liquid highlight and a setting spray, it won't cover up the highlight that you just did and it'll still keep it intact. But again, if you have the larger pores, this is going to accentuate that just a little bit, so you can pass on that. But if you don't have large pores and you're looking for a highlight powder, here you go. This next thing that I use, one of the doctors that I work with got this for me. This is the Tarteist the Tartist, I don't know, Tartist Pro Glow and Blush, so, which is great. I actually really needed this and I'm obsessed with it. So don't be afraid of the shimmer in this. It really doesn't show up on your face. There's like quite a bit of shimmer when you like look at it that way. I don't really know how to explain it, but it just really doesn't show up on your face, and the blending is amazing on this. I've always had trouble with blending bronzer. I think if you are fair skinned like I am, that's a struggle that a lot of us tend to have, is because the bronzer, like, it needs to be perfectly blended, otherwise it looks like you have a dirty face. It's like, I can't explain it, it just looks like really bad. So this one works really well. I pretty much solely for right now just use these two. I think once I run out of my Moonstone from my Becca, you know, pan, I think that I'm gonna try to use this. And then again, if I'm a little bit more on the tanner side, where I can rock a little bit of a brighter color, or I'm going somewhere that I can rock a little bit of a brighter color, then I'll go back and forth with these. I don't know if I'm going to use this much. I can always use this in a shadow, for a shadow base or something like that, but other than that, I'm not really going to be using this much unless I'm using this on somebody else's face. But I like that. I'm not crazy about the mirrors. I don't find them to be all too like effective and helpful, and this is a pretty hefty and heavy palette. I don't know, but I do like the product that's in it, so I'm a fan of this and I use it all the time. My other thing is my Tarte Toasted palette. So I guess it's starting to look like I'm a big Tarte fan, which I am, by the way. I didn't intend to just go to Tarte for everything. I just find that Tarte makes very good products, and I think that their next thing that I do want to try, which even though I talked to you guys about not using primer, I want to try their smoothing primer. Tati Westbrook raves about it, and she always says she has big pores even though she doesn't. But if that really does cover big pores, I'm totally up for just giving that a shot and seeing how much it smooths over and if it really holds my makeup in place, because then I'd be all for it. But other than that, I'm not really interested in trying any other ones. So anyway, back to this palette. So it sounds like there's an owl outside of my window. I don't know. Anyway, this is the palette. We've got shimmers and mattes in here. This is my everyday go-to palette. This color is the color that I use the most. This is the color Latte. Fireside I use sometimes for like the outer corner. Sometimes Warmth if I'm literally just trying to warm something up in my face. I use Candle right here if I want to do like a little bit of a highlight. But other than that, I pretty much just don't wear a ton of eye makeup. This is probably the most eye makeup I wear. And I did this today because I'm not feeling 100%, so if you can't tell, I'm very out of breath. I'm not feeling 100%, my body's in a lot of pain, so the only thing I could really do was just sit there and do my makeup, so that's why I did some more eye makeup than usual today. But this has just always been my go-to palette. It's just such a good universal palette. The colors work well for everybody, and it's something that you can always just toss in your bag. Not that heavy, cute packaging, nice packaging, a great mirror, so I use this mirror for everything anytime I'm out. I do need to clean it though. And yeah, it just is the perfect like go-to. So the next thing, I have extremely light eyebrows, and right now my eyebrows are actually like pretty filled in, believe it or not. My eyebrows are pretty much white, so are my eyelashes. I've been using this when I want my eyebrows to not look maybe white, but also not look like overly filled in, because my eyebrows are quite thick. This is from e.l.f. Here's the thing, I have a lot to say about this. Okay, first off, this is in the color Light. So the reason I bought this was because the color was so light. Anytime I go anywhere and I try to find an eyebrow thing, I can never find it in my color. They usually just have like brown and black, and it's like, okay, well, there's like 5,000 hair colors out there, and even the ones that say auburn aren't even like red, like they're not meant for redheads. So this one is light, but look at this, like, can you see this? Do you see that? It's so thin. It's so thin, and when you have like, my eyebrows are quite coarse, so I think if you had like maybe like blonde hair, or you're like even like a brunette with like, you have fine hair pretty much, then I think that this can work fine on you. But with me, I have very coarse eyebrows, and even my sister like, she has crazy coarse eyebrows. Her eyebrow hair is actually curly, my sister's. So like something like this, it's very hard to brush through it. So I use my, I have like a Milani eyebrow brush that I got with one of their like pots for their eyebrow kit, which I love that one too, but this one is just much lighter and like for everyday use. But this one is just like a nice like little wax. It keeps everything in place, nothing kind of falls on it, so I really do like it. But if you have coarser eyebrows, it's going to take you just a little bit longer to adjust your brows and use this properly. But other than that, great product, and obvioly e.l.f. is super cheap. Back to eyes, if I were to use a mascara, I tend to use the e.l.f. Mineral Mascara. It's just very light on my eyebrows because at the end of the day, I want to be able to wash my makeup off and I want to look like myself again and not like myself with residue of mascara, because then I just look like I took the walk of shame. Like literally I look like a crazy person when my eyelashes are like that. So if I'm doing like shows and stuff like that, or like I'm having like a heavy week with whether it's pageant week, fashion week, something like that, then the mascara I'll typically go for would be the Benefits They're Real mascara in the brown color, because they're the only ones who make a brown color that really looks like a true brown to me, which is nice because I don't really like black mascara on me. But this e.l.f. one is an exception because it just works really well. It comes off very easily, but it also stays on all day without the fallout. So I just find it to be a very easy mascara to work with. And that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for, is easy, quick, simple, nothing out of control. I mean, I don't mind if things are too expensive, but like if I can get it cheaper, then like why not? So that's that. And then my two last things are this NYX lip liner. I've been using NYX lip liners for like ever. They're good. They're definitely not the best. I definitely prefer MAC to them, and I think I even prefer the Revlon Color Stay. But the problem with the Revlon Color Stay is that sometimes they tend to break, and then the thing tends to actually like come out of the tube often. So I've just been using this. This is NYX in the color Nude Truffle, so like that's the color right there. It's just something to bring with me, very easy. I do need to reapply it. It doesn't hold all day, but it's still pretty good. And then this is like my favorite lip gloss that I stole from my sister. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills in the color Dainty, I think. It's just a very light pink, like watch. It's a very potent color, like you would expect it to be maybe a little bit more sheer, but it's not that sheer. Yeah, do you see that? I hope you guys see that, because I know that the lighting's a little bit weird right now. It's that weird time of day. But this is the only time I had this week, and I wasn't even supposed to be off right now. I just couldn't go to where I had to go. My body's in so much pain. I couldn't go out today. So yeah, it also smells good, and it doesn't taste that good, but it smells good. Not that you should be eating your makeup anyway, but you know, lip gloss is gonna be on your mouth, so you're bound to taste it and smell it. Anyway, so those are my everyday makeup products that I use when I do my makeup, which to be honest is not every single day, but yeah, it's just very easy. These products just make my life a lot easier. I don't have to, they're not fussy. I don't have to work on blending too much or adding too much on. As far as like tools that I use my beauty blender. The simplest thing in my opinion for applying foundation. It's very easy. Everything applies on much smoother to me than using a foundation brush, but that's just my preference. And then I have a big brush collection from Crown Brush. I think I have a few Sigma brushes in there, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, like, I just keep it as simple as possible every day, because I don't feel like spending like 5 hours on my makeup every day, although I do love doing makeup. So that's pretty much that. If you guys have any recommendations, something that's very easy to work with, please leave it in the comment section below. If you haven't watched my last video, you can go click right here. I talked about I did like an updated supplements for anxiety and depression video, so you can go check that out. Make sure again that you subscribe and turn on the bell notifications because I put out videos every single week, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.